How was the first day as a teacher? Like, you entered into the class, that was your first class. Yes. How much were you prepared about it?
Yeah.
Because if I'm not wrong, you entered into profession after B.Ed and there was quite a gap.
There was a gap, but I used to teach in smaller schools which were not very, very professional. But yes, this was the first school where I joined.
And DPS being a very highly
professional.
So how was the first day in a particular class of 40-45?
Okay, the first day I actually tried to know my students. Although the demo was taken for grade 3 or 4, but they gave me to teach class 7 social studies, and I was an English teacher. But it was okay. See, both the things, because in my B.Ed subject was there. But it was a great class. The first thing, the day I was there, I tried to understand the students, know about them, and I joined the school during the mid-session, and I could not meet the teacher whom I placed. So that was again a challenge for me. But I wanted to know where the class is, so that the teaching did not happen. I just wanted to know from where to start.
So you basically connected with the students. Is that required when a teacher joins?
That's the most important.
Because I have seen in my personal capacity also many new teachers come and the day one they start the subject without even an introduction, because I understand they also have certain kind of pressures to comply with.
Yeah, but the pressure can be overcome once you know about your students. Once you know your student, where are they at that point of time, and you start.
So that is very crucial.
That is very crucial to connect with your students.
So again, because teaching is considered to be, a very noble profession, and in terms of remuneration, if I were to talk about, it would not be at par with many of the corporate jobs that are being offered. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the starting salaries are quite basics. So if I were to just understand from you, what were your basic starting remuneration? Just give me a range. I'm not going into specifics again. Because the reason I'm asking is because most of the teachers would be coming up, and budding teachers, they would also like to get an insight as to how much they can start with.
Yeah. See, when I started, that was 2001, 2002. But now the situation is not all that bad. I started this school from 8,000, which I thought is not bad.
Back in those days. And right now, if you can just give me an idea about what is the starting?
See, it depends now. When your teacher is coming, it depends on the kind of experience she has. Now most of the schools, they are giving them self-pay commission. So a PRT is getting almost 35 or around between 30 to 35. Yes.
That's the starting.
That's the starting. In the 7th pay commission, in the proper nice good school.
In a proper nice. So it's not general again.
It's not general again. There are some schools, they are paying around 20,000, 25,000 in the beginning, and 13,000. Generally,
so it varies from school to school.
It varies from school to school.
So in your teaching days, or before, should I say, as a teaching as a profession, and I'm sure you must be having many friends around who is into their corporate jobs, or who are CEOs or doing quite different in banking sector, etc. So did you ever felt that teaching is not up to the mark, as in the Indian context I'm asking, in the Indian society context I'm asking, and not very much people look up to teaching as a profession in comparison to different levels of corporate job?
Yeah.
What is your opinion around it? Or should it be like that, or should it not be, and how can we actually solve it around?
I would like to narrate an incident. I was in a party, we went together, where there were people from different professions, and they all were talking about I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business person, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So they all were bragging about, especially they were into. And I was sitting in the corner of the party, and somebody asked me, what are you doing? I said, I'm a teacher. I could see the color of their faces change completely, and I could make out that yes, they are looking at me from not wearing spectacles. They look at how do you make money? And I could read their faces. And I started again. I said, okay, I'm not making money, but do you know what I'm making? There was a question mark. I said, I'm making human beings. I am shaping the future of our country. I'm a nation builder. I have made your. As a teacher, I am the one who is teaching all the professions. Today you can stand, you can talk about it, you can talk about your profession. Thank the teacher who has taught you. You are here only because there was a teacher behind you. You are into that profession, and I'm very proud to say that I'm a teacher. Everyone is
But this really, I really believe that teaching is very, very strong profession that builds upon different professions. And I understand the school of thought that most of us belong to and come from there. But don't you think that teacher, in terms of remuneration and as well as in terms of respect, needs much more than they are being given right now?
I agree.
The reason I'm saying this is because it is a very hard-working job and is no less than any corporate job, any banking job. Then why should we just settle down with, okay, this is a noble reason? Or are we doing it only for that?
No, nobody is doing teaching as a noble profession. It is everybody is coming out of the house for money. Today I go to school and college. Money is an important part. I choose a job where I get better money. That's a common tendency. But yes, teachers are not paid as well as people who are working in corporate. But I won't say that job is anything less. I think it's much more than what a person doing in corporate, because they are dealing with lives of children. They are really working hard to shape the child's future. I think it should not be like that. But yes, now the things are changing, time is changing. Teachers are being paid well, but I would say that only a small part of the country, interiors, teachers are not paid at all.
So I was just having this kind of a discussion with one of my colleagues who work in corporate, and I also belong to corporate. And one of the reasons that was given why teachers are considered low and corporates are considered, or corporates, or should I say, let's say developers or programmers or coders are considered higher paid is because of the impact they create. Like for example, a programmer who writes a software is being used by millions of people, and the impact is immediate. But when a teacher teaches, they are mostly restricted to a particular school, should I say. Although the later impact is quite big. So don't you think that teachers also need to digitize or come up to impact more lives than just a peripheral of schools?
Yes, if a teacher is accessible to more students will be more beneficial. Rather than just sitting in one classroom, she can address the masses. Many students she should be accessible to. And I think this is happening right now in the digital world. There are teachers sitting here in India and teach students who are sitting in America.
So more and more teachers needs to come out.
Make the classroom more digital.
And if I were to talk about teaching, only specific, what do you hate the most about teaching? Like every profession has that. Like in our corporate, there could be a manager, there could be someone, or there could be a 9 to 5 specific thing. If teaching is really great, but isn't there something that you would like to eliminate? Or should I not use the very strong word hate? Would like to eliminate into the teaching system?
I would put it that way, that when you are there in the classroom, if you are just doing as a teacher, you are just making your students do the rote learning, which is bad.
That needs to be eliminated.
That needs to be eliminated. The objective of our teaching should not be only remain for getting marks on a piece of paper. It should be much more than that.
So when you used to teach, a lot of time it happens that teachers also share their funny moment in a particular class. Like a certain student did certain thing, and that is always remembered long time back also. So is there any particular student or a memory of yours that you still remember while teaching that happened, or a student did something to you, or a particular class?
Yes, it happened. I remember there are many of them, but one particular thing I always recall. I'm very scared of mouse. When I opened my class door, there was a mouse sitting in that door. And you know, the moment I declared there is a mouse, you could make out that what was happening in the classroom. Okay, somehow I called PA, the mouse was thrown out of the class. One of the day I found a bouquet close to my birthday, lying on my table. And the moment I picked up the bouquet, there was a paper mouse inside that bouquet. And I had such a hearty laugh, and all the students started laughing. And there was no name that he was written, but later on I came to know that the bouquet was kept by a girl child who was the most quiet student of my class. So that incident I still remember, that how could that girl could do that. But yes, it was a funny moment.
That happens in every teacher's life. that kind of a thing is always remembered. So, in coming to your lesson plan, like every teacher needs to prepare their lesson plan. Could you share some tips and tricks how a teacher should go about preparing their lesson plans in a particular class?
Okay, yes. Lesson plan, as you said, is a very, very important part of teaching and learning process. When I was a teacher and I used to prepare my lesson plan, one thing I used to keep in mind was always it has to cater for all the level of students, because when you are there in a class of 40 or 50 or 30 or 20, there are different levels of students. There are some students who are very bright ones and some are little slow learners and some are mediocres. So while making a lesson plan, we should keep in mind that our lesson plans should be catered for all different levels. My activities which I used to design has to be of 3 different layers. Starts from simple to the complex. Starting from my learning objective, again different years, and then I used to plan all the hands-on activities and for different kind of learning strategies. For example, there are some children they learn with the help of the visual methods, so I used to definitely put something on visual. There are some students that learn hands-on practice, so some activity used to design. There were some children who used to learn with the help of the lecture method. For them also used to design some kind of lecture. So when you are making a lesson plan, you have to keep in mind the different kind of learning strategies, the different level of students, and the hands-on activities. And sometimes it depends on concept to concept. If the concept needed children to be taken out of the class, we used to take my children outside. And then your assessment is again very important. Different layers of assessment meant for different. So this is what and when I'm training my teachers, I ask them to create these kind of things.
So, just out of curiosity, I would like to know, this process that you just mentioned is already taught in BA.
Yes, it is taught in BA, but every school follows.
So, how practical it is to that every teacher do this in their particular classes? Is it practically religiously followed by every teacher, or is it again dependent on particular teacher?
Yes, see, a lesson plan is made, but when I am in the classroom, I can definitely tweak it. And I allow my teachers to tweak it as per the requirement of the particular class. See, you have visualized that this is how you are going to take your lesson forward. But sometime in the classroom, some different kind of situation arises. So you have to change it according to the situation.
You need to adapt.
You need to adapt to the situation. It's not that you rigidly follow your lesson.
So that much flexibility is required. So, when I was a student, I used to be very curious, like, how does a teacher remember so many names?
Okay.
So, how does a teacher do that? Like, they teach so many students in their careers and they're in a particular year as well, so many classes. How do you just remember it? Is it like elephant's memory, or you take some special courses or classes? How do you go about that?
No special courses. Again, to connect your students individually. If you connect with your students on one-to-one basis, you definitely remember this. If a teacher doesn't connect with the students individually,
they won't remember. So, as a teacher, like I know that the government has reduced the class strength to around 40 now. When I used to study, we used to have 60 plus students in a particular class.
Yes.
So, is it actually practically possible for a teacher to reach out to each and every student in a class?
In a class of 60 is difficult. If I practically talk about it, but yes, if you have a class of 30, 40, it's not difficult. It's not difficult. Whenever you have free time or when you are just thinking of something, just call each and every student, talk to them. ask about their personal problems. Maybe you can know about their weaknesses, know about their strengths, and then according to that student you tweak in your teaching.
So, if I were to look how much the syllabuses have changed in terms of teaching, like when I used to study, when I was in my class 11th or 12th, the same book was used at that time, and my younger sister has just given her boards and has come up to 11. The same book is being followed right now. So if I were to look it in a very linear view, the teachers are teaching the same thing over year and year and above.
Yeah.
How much does a teacher innovate in that, or how much is it actually possible to innovate, or does teacher not get bored by teaching the same thing repetitively every year because it's not changing?
See, every class, for me, I can talk about myself. For me, every class is a learning. You can change, you can improve upon, you can add, you can delete in a classroom. So, every class for me is a learning process. I know that in this class, this has not worked. My students could not learn because of this problem. It's always formative. You keep on taking formative in your class when you're there. If you think the child has not learned from this way, take it.
Let's look at it from a different point of view. What you are saying is more of a teacher's teaching methodology.
Yeah.
Okay, but
you are talking about the syllabus.
Yeah, I'm talking in terms of the syllabus.
Every time you can take a thing which you think has worked, you can repeat it. There is no doubt. But yes, with over a period of time, our syllabus should change. There should be some addition, some deletion should happen, which unfortunately doesn't.
So, if I were to give you a very specific example on this one, still in many schools in computer classes, Windows 7 is being taught.
Yes, and
today we are working on Windows 10, Mac, and Androids and whatnot.
Absolutely. So, what I tell my computer teacher many times, I called her and I told her that just whatever is there in the textbooks, please teach them because students already know about it. But take them much more beyond it as per the class.
So should teachers on a general level or a national level can do something about it, like to update the syllabus?
No, they can't go on their own. Whatever the basic which is given in the textbooks, that teachers have to do, but they can do much more. That like computer example you gave, they definitely do.
So they need to connect outside of the classes as well to help the students.
You see, if I am teaching a topic in the class again and again the same thing, I can take my students outside, show them practically, show them and connect your teaching with the real life. That you can tell your students, okay, you are learning this, but how you can actually use it, apply the knowledge which you are gaining today.
So, a funny thing happened once. After my school days, I went to my school, and I was sitting with one of my favorite teachers, and that day I could realize that as a teacher, it is not a very good experience to be in a PTM. A lot happens in that PTM. And different kinds of parents come, they have different expectations, students have different kind of issues. So how do you, how much do you enjoy PTMs, or what is that something that you again need to eliminate from PTMs?
See, PTM is a very, very important part of teaching process because parents are equally involved, parents should equally involved in the child's education. So I think PTM is very important. But how it should be conducted? Yes, there are different parents. You meet, like I must have met thousands and thousands of parents, all different kinds. There are some parents who are very, very hyper. Like for admission also, there are many parents, they come to my school and they ask that what your school is doing to make my child do IIT. Others is I get shock of my life. I said, what are you talking? Your child is in nursery KG. Please first make him a proper good human being. IIT, doing IIT, everything is very, very far away. Yes, it's important to put the ultimate goal, but not at that stage. So there are many, many different kind of parents that come in. There are some of them, they say, मैं इसको मारो, इसको जो मर्जी करो, इसको ये करो, बस इसको कुछ बना दो. Now these kind of things, parents are coming and saying. Your question was that how PTMs are important. Yes, PTMs are important, but they have to be conducted to know about the progress of the child, to know that how parents can help in making in child's education, what is expected from them, and parents can come and share their views with teachers. This is where my child is lagging, and this is what the education is lagging in the school. I think that should be the conversation.
But that's not the...
It does not happen.
That doesn't happen. Okay. So if I were to look, as I mentioned about the impact of a teacher, the syllabuses are not changing, the questions are not changing, the answers are also probably the same. Why does a teacher needs to be restricted to only one school? Like for example, if I were to ask a question about, let's say, chemical energy, the same is being asked in a different school, the same is being asked in another school, answers are probably the same, the definitions are almost the same. Should not teachers of different schools be more accessible to students? Or they need to be restricted only to their particular schools?
You mean to say that the student is asking a question from different teachers of different schools?
This could be a possibility, like because the questions are not changing. If you were to give more options to students to learn from.
That's a great idea. Why not? Because every teacher has a different way of delivering the concept. I think that's a brilliant idea.
So I've often heard about this that some teachers are really happy with what they're getting in terms of remuneration. Some teachers are like bleeding to death. What is the actual cause, or how can we actually help or improve upon this kind of scenario? If you can just, as a principal, if you can guide us into it, that why is this kind of class difference? Is it because of the schools?
Say the different the kind of service the teachers.
Yeah, is it because of the schools that they are affiliated to or they are associated with, or is it because the teachers' experience are different in terms of teaching into a particular professional school or teaching someone else? So the teachers are really bad, the other teachers really bad, like someone teaching here, someone teaching there. Is it only because of that, or is it because of the class?
I think it depends from school to school, the policy of a school. If a school which is giving the 7th pay commission and as per the CBSE norms, I think there should be a kind of disparity. Disparity is only on the basis of the experience a teacher has, but unfortunately this is not being followed in many schools. They have their own policies of paying salaries to teachers, so it should not happen. It should be the same everywhere.
So it is completely on the onus of a particular school. So there is a certain perception that I have often encountered that if you want a simple, easygoing life, become a teacher. Or if I've seen many of my colleagues that did graduation, did engineering, but could not be very happy in what the job was being offered, so they joined school. So that kind of perception, should that be changed, or is it completely okay to go about teaching as your last resort?
See, when many times I interview teachers, I ask them, one of my questions is always there, that why are you into this profession? Many of them, they give the same answer, which you have just mentioned, which is a big misconception. A teaching job is not easy. It is because you are dealing with students, you are dealing with them every day. It's very intense. And if you think that you are coming into this profession because it's easygoing, you are not meant for teaching. Please find some profession. Don't come into teaching.
Because at the end of the day, you're playing with the careers of many students, because you're not enjoying that profession and you're entering into it just for the sake of the easygoing life.
Yes. And it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not at all easy.
It's not at all easy.
You actually realize it when you have entered.
When you actually get it.
Again, to understand this not so easy and hardworking life, does every teacher work really hard? Are there not teachers who just go about doing lecture and not putting so much of effort? How can, as an administration also, as well as a student also, how can you differentiate between them and understand much better from a person who is capable enough?
Yes, you're right. There are some teachers who are self-motivated teachers. They take teaching as their passion, not as profession. So there are some teachers who are like that. But there are some teachers who just take things easy. So when, as a head of a school, when I notice that a teacher is like that, she's taking, and you can't hide yourself from the eyes of the administration. your administrators, you can't hide yourself that you are not doing justice to the job or to the work which are given to you. I call them, I warn them, I mentor them, I try to train them, but if the teacher still does not improve, then I have no choice to say that.
The reason I'm coming up again with this one is because in corporates or in particular my development profession is like every 6 months the technology changes,
Yes.
the ecosystem changes, new things come up to teach and learn.
Yeah.
So as a teacher, I've seen many other teachers teaching only 8th standard for 10 years down the line. Should they not progress themselves to 9th or maybe 11th or 12th and innovate themselves?
Yeah.
And are there resources available for that? That is common rebuttal that I get.
See,
We don't have resources.
growth is one thing, or the professional development is one thing. A teacher should always keep in mind new innovation, new ideas. A teacher should always. And whenever, if you think you are in the profession or you are in the school where your learning is not happening or your professional development is not happening, is the time to move on. If I talk about myself, I have never kept myself in a comfort zone. Whenever I think that okay, I'm very comfortable, everything is going smooth, and I'm not learning anything. Now it's my growth has finished. I think it should happen.
So you are suggesting it's a personal decision?
It's a personal decision.
Not
if you think you're comfortable
administratively.
teaching, if you're comfortable teaching class 8 throughout your life, it's up to you. But yes, if you want growth, you want that you should reach high to the ladder, then you should always move on, learn something, do something differently, and that kind of passion and that kind of development skill should be there in you that yes, you want to grow, you want to do something new.
So as you mentioned that English is your favorite subject or you graduated in that, so I'm assuming that English is something that naturally comes to you while teaching. Is that way?
Yes.
So, why should someone take English as a profession or English as a career or English as a subject to learn about? Just shed a light to those students who actually enjoy English,
Yes.
or are, again fumble as to which subject should they choose about.
Yeah. See, as an English, if you have done your graduation or post-graduation, these days so many options, career options are there for students. Media, going into journalism, going into mass media, content writer, advertisement, editor. There are so many options for English. I think that's the basic language. If you have a good communication skill or if you are a good communicator, then there's no dearth of
And these are all professional.
all professional. You go into advertisements,
Yes.
go into journalism, go into mass media, go into writing, going into editing. There are thousands of career options for the students who are graduating.
So I'm sure you must have taught English somewhere in your career. So what are the common mistakes that a particular student does in English exams? Like what they need to completely avoid doing that.
Okay, see, before going there, I would like to tell you that what is our objective of learning a language. So, I think the objective of learning any language is not that you should be able to communicate well, you should be able to read, you should be able to write that language properly. That is one of the objective of learning. For that matter, any language you are learning, Hindi you are learning, English you are learning, French or any language, the objective of learning should be communication.
Specific to English, often the criticism is that we cannot learn it or we are not able to learn it at a self-pace or at home. There's no one to teach English to us.
Yeah.
How should a student who actually want to learn English and improve their English should go about in their home or in their personal capacity?
Yes, for that I would suggest students to read a lot, not other than only the textbooks. There should be other than other literature. For whatever is your interest, just go on reading and reading. Make it a point to pick up a book and read. Pick up a newspaper and read. To improve any language, I won't say English, any language, just read and read. And when you're talking to yourself, just talk in that language. That's the best way.
And in past, if I would say a decade or 5 years, there's a growing culture of giving notes.
Yeah.
So, should a teacher invest himself or herself in preparing notes or to give out notes to their children, or ask their students to refer to books? Because books, of course, has a very huge amount of knowledge, but often that is not required. So, a teacher compiles into notes. But how is that this notes culture actually helping the students or is not helping them?
I would say that teachers should not give notes to students. Rather than she should be telling students to make their notes. Why? Because when a child is making notes, he or she will be reading, studying and learning something and making notes. Now also if you need to know about something, you just read it and write down the synopsis of what you learned. I think that if a student is doing this, then it should be. It's giving notes to students something like spoon feeding. It's not independent.
You're actually kind of making them handicapped in the initial
and
stages.
it's a kind of a spoon feeding for them. And child is not learning anything by it.
I've often seen these days also in upcoming childs that they've stopped reading and writing as well, because it's almost now technology, it's almost on mobile.
Yeah.
I, for a person, have not seen my handwriting in many years because it's all about computers.
It's all about computers.
So we should rather give it more to the students.
Yeah.
Now coming again to boards, it's a lot of hype in our country. Boards like 11 or 10 and 12. How important are actually the boards in your long career in terms of your professional job? How much does that board result play an important part in your career?
See, I don't remember how many marks I got in. I'm sure you also don't remember. It does not play any. I'm not saying that children should not do very well in board exams, which is important. But in your career, it is nowhere being counted that how many percentage you got. 70% or 90% when you go for a job, looking for a job. Yes, for getting admission in Delhi University, you need 90%, 95%, 99%. But when you are becoming a professional and you are going to the job interview, I have seen very mediocre students who are, as a teacher also sometimes I used to say, "Tumhara kuch nahi ho sakta." But those students today who are mediocre, they are doing so well in life. It's the skills you are developing during your schooling age, your calling age, that is what works and that is what is important. Tomorrow when I become a professional, what kind of skills I have? Do I have thinking skill? Do I have a problem solving skill? Do I have a communication skill? Am I good in media literacy? These are the skills we should be developing in our students today rather than making and teaching them only from the textbooks. And marks, the kind of marks you're getting in your content, it doesn't matter.
So, just like you said, I was also discussing the same thing and with one of my teachers, and she also gave the exact response. But one thing that she mentioned that stuck to me was, how do we communicate this to parents? How do we make them realize that it is not that important?
I think counseling of parents are more important than counseling.
So a PTM should be more focused on parents.
Telling them this.
So, and again I've seen this growing or a stagnant culture, should I say, that arts is not being offered in many of the schools. Like for example, if I were to talk about my younger sister, she right now is in 11. She wants to do geography in a career ahead in Delhi University, but there is no arts in college. In school, she has to comply with only science. So should not more and more schools come up with arts in 11th and 12th?
Of course, and the kind of trend which is coming now, there are so many job options for the students who are opting for.
So again, thinking about that student who is actually good in English, for example.
Yeah.
Now English as an art is an art subject in 11th and 12th and is not being offered by most of the students.
Yeah.
Those 11th and 12th are very budding years of your age, and if you are being forced to do science and commerce, despite you being a writer, you are actually killing a writer.
Yeah, absolutely.
How can that student be in that ecosystem, comply with that being a science or being a commerce person, and still keep in touch with English or any other art subject that they should be
See,
doing?
English is a compulsory subject in every school. You have to, and also when you pick up your best of 5 or best of 4, English is always counted.
No, English I understand, but let's talk about, I want to become an art artist. I want to become a, geologist or maybe a topographer. For that, geography needs to be in their arts. In 11th and 10th. And if someone is being taught that in 11th and 12th, it leads a very huge impact into their graduation.
Yes.
How should that student keep their motivation alive and still be a part of the science?
Why that kind of student opt for humanities rather than going towards the science or commerce stream?
Because the reason I'm mentioning over here is not much schools offer that.
They don't offer it. Yeah, see, then the child has to study on his own. If the school is not opting for humanities, if the geography is not a subject, so the child has to do on his own.
So online mediums and all, he needs to. Any concluding point? Let's just conclude now. So anything that you would like to state to the teachers, the students, the principals, those who are watching you?
Yes, I would like to say one thing, that in last 10 years, the world has changed 360 degrees. Our education system is not changing in that pace. We need to bring that kind of change in our teaching and learning process, in our education. We cannot be teaching our students the way they used to learn 20 years back. We need to bring innovation, we need to update ourselves, what is happening around the world. Bringing technology is very important, giving those kind of skills to our students which they need tomorrow when they become a professional. So equip them with 21st century skills. Teaching them from the textbooks is not enough. We need to bring innovation in our teaching process. Bring change, make education system more practical so that child will be able to use it tomorrow when he goes out and become a professional.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, enthusiastic advice, we'd like to end it over here. So thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching the full interview. I hope you liked it. Please share it as much as you can. If you're a teacher, a principal or a head of institution and want us to interview you, or you have some suggestions for us, please write an email to us at Exedify.